Hello, welcome. If you're just starting to come in, Lunar Flow here. We'll get started in a few minutes. Make sure you have a couple of blocks, maybe a pillow or two. And you can see in the description the playlist I have for today is called Lunar Flow 4/16/2020. It's on my Spotify, Chrissy Vaccaro. So if you want to listen along, you're more than welcome to. You can also play anything that's you're feeling. And yeah, so we'll get a little fluid flow going. Just want to move my smudgy stick. And donations can be made at Venmo for on my Venmo, Chrissy Vaccaro 13. It's also in the description. I'm going to be donating a portion of that again this week to Hawk Healing Abuse, Working for Change, and here in the North Shore. They could use some help right now, so I'm going to be putting some money toward them as well. So get yourself cozy, get your blocks, get your pillow, maybe a blanket, a sweatshirt for when we kind of cool down and get a little bit more into some restorative poses, which we will do toward the end of class. Trying to see if Lucy's going to come in for class today. You going to come in, Lucy? She's camera shy. We are going to start on our backs if you are getting ready to join. And I'm going to have you guys come all the way into your backs into Tadasana or Star Pose. So you can move your pillow and your blocks to the side for now. And actually, you know what? Let me grab my mat. I forgot that. Sometimes I use a mat, sometimes I don't, for a little bit more of a gentle type thing, which I did the other day. I tend to not to, but we're doing a little bit of flow today. So take your feet about as wide as the mat and bring your arms up over your head. Also, a little bit wider into like a big, nice, wide V. So Tarasana, star pose. Your feet can even be off the mat here. And take a couple rounds of breath. You might start a playlist if you have one queued up. I'm going to listen to mine in my... Got some wireless headphones finally. So, nice big breaths, lots of space. And let yourself kind of rock a little bit side to side so that you can make sure that your sacrum feels nice and even and rooted into the earth below you. And from there, see if you can encourage the back body to become a little bit heavier. And as you get a little bit heavier, the body relaxes, sort of follows suit. And as the body relaxes, the breath can become slower and more controlled. You might start to feel the mind calm, slow down. And that's the whole thing we want to do with this linkage between the body, the mind, the spirit. Let it all settle down. So a few more breaths here, arriving in your space, leaving behind your day, leaving behind the news maybe that you watched. Just letting yourself have this time and space for self-care, self-love, self-everything. Just you. And then your arms might stay where they are, or you might interlace your fingers behind your head. And with your legs straight, just bring the left ankle over the right. And then you'll start to make your way right elbow towards your feet. So you're making this nice crescent with your body. And see if you can press down into your left hip a little bit more. You feel some big opening on the side body. It's like you're hanging out in a beach chair or on the beach. Just letting a couple rounds of breath really wave over you. And then bring that left foot back off the side of the mat or to the edge. Your head can come back to center. And then the right foot will cross over the left, legs straight. And then just sort of shimmy that left elbow over to the side. Press the right hip down. Right now the moon is in a waning phase. So we had that big bright full moon, if you guys remember. And as the moon wanes, we're at about a half moon almost toward our new moon in Taurus. It becomes a little bit quieter of an energy. Full moons can have a lot of effect on people, and sort of during this time as the moon sheds the light, it's sort of a reminder to us to shed maybe some energies that we could be holding on to that aren't really doing much good. Come back to center. And let's bring the feet into the mat, knees bent. And then just take a moment to engage into your belly. Feel the belly button pull into the spine, into the floor. Really flatten out through there so you feel engagement. And then maybe one knee at a time or both knees into your toward your chest. Give yourself a squeeze and a little bit of rocking side to side. From here, you might start to draw some circles with your hands on your knees, moving in one direction and then in the other. And then coming back to stillness, and from here, right knee in toward chest. And extend the right leg to the sky, foot flex. You can interlace behind your right leg. You might keep the left foot in the floor, you might extend long here. So really pressing the right hip down and in, and then think about your left hip sort of moving toward the bottom of your mat where your feet is, so that this right hip makes some space on the right side and the hips are level. Sometimes the right hip sort of hikes up toward the right shoulder. From here, press the right heel out just a little bit. Feel your inner thighs turn on, your outer glutes turn on. Imagine as if you're standing on the ceiling. Rebend into the left leg, left foot into the floor. Start to bend into the right knee. You can either grab the back of the thigh or the edge of your right foot. From here, you can start to drop your left knee out to the side. So you're in a half Supta Baddha Konasana. Your sacrum flat into the floor. You're pressing your hand and your foot into each other. So there's some engagement. Bring the left knee back so it's upright. Guiding your right ankle over your left thigh. Just take a moment here. Bring your right hand to the inner right thigh. Press the knee away. Feel some opening in your hip. From here, bring the right foot into the mat, knees bent. We'll start from the other side. So pull the left knee in towards your chest. And then extend the left leg to the sky, left foot like you're standing on the ceiling. Interlace hands behind your left thigh. Feel a little bit of a heel press in the left side out. And you're still pulling that left hip away, so you're lengthening the left side body. Maybe you straighten through your right leg. Keep engaging through your belly here. Rebend into the right leg, right foot into the floor. Bend into your left knee, reach for the outer edge of your left foot. Half happy baby, you can drop the right knee out to the side so you have a half Supta Baddha Konasana. Left foot presses into your left hand into your foot. And bring that right knee back upright. Guide the left ankle over your right thigh. And then just give that left thigh, inner thigh, a little press away. And from there, pull the knees back into the chest again. Give yourself a squeeze. Starting to get a little movement. It feels so nice. Let's rock and roll our way up to a seated position. And just take a nice comfortable seat. We're going to take a mudra, so I'm going to just come a little closer to show you the mudra that we're going to take. We're going to do Hridaya mudra, which is a heart seal, and it really helps to release some strength and anxiety that we all might be having. So that's sort of what I've been trying to focus on classes this week. So when I did this yesterday, I was too close. So your middle finger and your ring finger and your thumb all come together like this. Your index fingers are just going to curl in, so you're kind of like making a little peek hole there. And then your pinky can stay out like this. So we'll take this mudra. And you can just bring the backs of your hands to your knees or your thighs. Find a nice tall spine, stacking your shoulders over your hips. And taking a few rounds of breath here, see if you can melt any stress away from your face. If you're scrunching up through your nose or your forehead, see if you can encourage the third eye center to send a little bit of a pulse out, telling those muscles to relax. And then take your attention to your heart space. And ask perhaps what needs to drop away during this time. good time to shed those fears and anxieties. And I know that that's hard. It's not something you can just be like, oh, just put that aside and I'm all better. It's not like that, but it's a practice. It's a acknowledgement that there's things that are bothering us or causing stress for us, and then a release can happen with that acknowledgement, with that resolve that we get. And blink the eyes open, and we'll bring the hands in front of us, and then just rolling over the shins, come into your tabletop. Sorry, let me just make this. Good. So let's take your knees about as wide as the mat with your toes together. So you're taking a little bit wider stance here, and we'll start to make some nice big circles with the hips, with the body moving to stir the pot. Imagine that big pot of all your thoughts, all your feelings, all your emotions. Stir it all up. And hopefully with your practice, the ones that need to kind of go away will settle out to the bottom and be released back out to the earth. Come into center. From here, bring the knees a little bit closer so you're back in your traditional tabletop, and we'll find a little cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly, really press the hands into the mat, index fingers facing forward. Pull the belly button in, arch the spine, and move through this a few times. Imagine that you have two knobs underneath your hands, and you're energetically turning them away so that the pits of your elbows come forward. Inner biceps are rolling forward. Let's come back to stillness. Grow long in your spine. Extend your left foot behind you. Right hand will come in front of you. And the left toes will come off the mat. So we're in a scale pose here. Inhale long. Try to not let this left hip come up, but keep it closed down. And then exhale, knee to nose. Inhale long. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale long, bring the right hand down, left toes will come into the mat, and then you're just going to kickstand your right foot out, left sole of the foot will come into the mat now. So we'll come into this modified side angle, modified side plank rather. So left hand up and over. Now, if your left shoulder starts to creep up, see if you can plug that shoulder head into the socket here. And now maybe you start to take a little bit of movement in that arm. So making some circles or just kind of shifting back and forth. Really big side body stretch here. So see if you can also be pressing into that left foot to lengthen through the side. And then make sure the left foot is on the mat. From here, you'll start to get light on your right fingers. Come up for gate pose. Bring your hands up high. The left hand will come down and over, reaching over. Get a little counter stretch in the right side. Now from here, let yourself come down back into that side plank, but use your core to control that. Bring the left hand down, bring the right knee in. Sorry, left knee in. I'm losing. It's been a long week. What are we on? Week 5 of quarantine? From here, maybe you take a little cat-cow to sort of rinse that out. Right leg will come behind you this time. Left arm in front, bring the right toes up off the mat. Level through the hips and the low back. Pull the belly button in. You're filling the kidney area just a little bit so you're not dropping and you're not curving. Now on your next exhale, bring your knee towards your nose. Inhale long. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale long, bring the left hand down, right toes into the mat. Kickstand that left foot. I'm going to face you. I'm going to face my back to you, but you'll see what it looks like. Bring your right arm up, plug the shoulder into the socket, and then reach the right arm over. Turn the pinky side of the hand down. Now you might find a little bit of movement here. Really keep pressing into that right foot so you're making that side body stretch. Come back to stillness. Get light on the left fingers. Press into your right foot as you come up. Gate pose. You'll grab your left wrist and lean over to the side. Come back down. Nice and gentle. Use the core to control the motion. And then just come in. Bring the knees wide. Toes together. Come to child's pose. And take a few breaths to feel what you feel. Feel some movement of energy. I know I'm drinking out of a giant beer stein, but I assure you it's filled with water. I like the volume of it. All right, let's come back up, tabletop. From here, step the toes back, just come into high plank. Find that turning of the knobs underneath you. Now keeping your hips nice and level, belly engaged, bring the knees forward and down, keep the toes tucked, press the hips back. We'll take a little flow here. Inhale as you roll up through a cat spine. You're gonna come all the way to unfurl your spine, past your wrists, keep the hips high, chin and chest down, little baby push-up, come back up, come into tabletop, extend the legs long behind you into full plank. We'll bring the knees down again. Inhale, exhale, press back into a really active child's pose. Inhale, drag your hands energetically towards you as you come up, unfurl. Bring your chin and chest down, push yourself back up, come into tabletop, extend through the legs. So see how you can, if you can keep your hips nice and stable throughout this. One more time, bring the knees down, press the hips back. Roll forward. Chin and chest down. Come back up. This time we'll come all the way up into our plank. And from here, let's take the hips nice and high, downward facing dog. So start to pedal out your feet. Pedal into one leg and the other. You're really pressing the hands into the mat. You're turning those knobs. You're bringing your chest toward your thighs, and then you're pressing your heels out just a little bit to get your thighs, your inner thighs, to roll back. From here, let's roll forward, high plank. Option to bring the knees down or not, but we'll shift forward, come all the way down, chaturanga, all the way to your belly. Bring your hands off your mat and stacking your wrists right under the elbows. Inhale, grow long. Come up for a baby cobra. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. Exhale, down. Bring your hands in right by your ribs. You can move through a real cobra this time, having the elbows in by your side. Tuck your toes. Come back to downward facing dog. Raise your right leg high. Start to bend into the right knee, stacking the right hip on top of the left. Now, if you're looking under your right armpit, see if you can look under the left and square your square your shoulders and your chest. Re-straighten out, level the hips. On your next exhale, bring your right knee towards your right elbow. Inhale high. Cross the body to the left. Inhale high. Knee toward nose, step it through nice and light. And grab your blocks if you have it. You can also use books or anything just to give yourself a little bit of height. So, you don't need them here too. If you can reach, that's fine. I like blocks for this pose. We'll do a little pulse between our low lunge. Make sure you're on railroad tracks, a little space between your feet. And then exhale, straighten out, Parsvottanasana. We'll flow between the two on your own breath. Inhale forward and exhaling back. Oh, we might get some dog barking here. Inhale, come forward into your low lunge. Drop your back knee. We'll sweep up, modified Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge. Keep your back toes tucked here. Think about pulling the right hip back so it's even with the left, and the left's pushing forward so we're not coming apart. Pulling everything to our midline. Shoulders on the back. From here, on your next exhale, bring your hands maybe to the blocks, maybe to the floor, and then straighten through the right leg. You might have to adjust so that you're not sitting your butt back beyond. So you can always push this right heel a little forward so you get that stretch in your hamstring. Baby bend in this right knee. Your heel's engaging and sort of pulling back towards your hip joint. Heart, however, is still moving away from your hips, and then as soon as you do that, you feel that big stretch. From here, shift forward, low runner's lunge. Hand in the block or the floor. I'll do the block today. Right arm rises up to the sky. So think about heart away from hips, turning all the way around the spine. From here, right arm's going to come forward, pinky side down. Keep that shoulder really plugged in. Left shoulder's back as well. Bring the left heel down so you have warrior 2 feet, and then just sneak that right arm onto your right thigh as you pull yourself up, building your extended side angle pose. If your butt's sticking out really far, see if you can scoop those hips underneath. Shoulders still on your back, so the heart is coming forward. From here, we'll come all the way up, warrior 2. Just for a moment. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, come all the way down. You'll make your toes parallel coming off the side of the mat, wide leg forward folds. Find an inhale, halfway lift. Nice flat back, belly button deep. Press the heels out. As you exhale, bend through your knees a lot. So we'll really contract and expand. Inhale, come up halfway. You can always use blocks here if you need to as well. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Take a look at your left toes. Spin them out. We'll skandasana into the left leg and pause. So you're in this sort of half skandasana. So again, little bend in this right knee so you're not locking it up. Left knee is pressing really hard out. You might even put your elbow there just to feel that tension. From here, we're going to just reach forward sort of in an angle, heart away from hips. Feel a big stretch kind of in the back of your hamstring, but up really high by your glute. If you're a runner, that'll feel good. I'm not really a runner, but I've been running more than usual because I'm not going to the gym for other cardio things. So by default, I'm a runner, and those muscles get really tight. Come back up so that you can support yourself. Take a look at your right toes. Try to keep the knee and the toes in line as you come all the way back. You're going to come into your high plank, step it back. Optional vinyasa here. You can move forward and down and come up to your upward facing, or you can just come into downward facing dog. I'm just going to switch sides so that you guys can see what I'm doing on this side. So from here, left leg raises up. Bend into the left knee, open through the left hip. Now you're going to be peeking under that right shoulder, that right armpit this time. You can bend the standing knee as much as you need to. Re-straighten through the left leg. On your next exhale, left knee toward your left elbow. Inhale high, across the body. Inhale high. Left knee towards your nose, really dome the back, step the foot through. Grab your blocks or not. Make sure your feet are a little wider so they're like your hips. We'll rock between the two here. Inhale, press the heart forward. Exhale, come to Parsvottanasana, straighten through that left leg. Now in this pose too, when you come into Parsvottanasana, you still don't want to be locking up your joints. So always have a little bit of flexion going on in your knees or your elbows so that you don't hyperextend. I'm a hyperextender by nature, so I have to really work on that. Kind of blocks energy and it can really lead to a lot of injuries. So come into your low runner's lunge, bring that right knee down, modified Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge. Right hip presses forward, left presses back, everything pulls to your midline, stacking all your vertebrae so you're nice and tall, super active in your legs, super strong. On your next exhale, bring your hands down to frame your foot. Blocks or not, straighten through the left leg. Again, you might have to shimmy that left foot forward a little bit so that you can stack your hips over that back knee. You might find a halfway lift, move that heart away from the hips, and then you're like, oh, there's my hamstring. And even in this pose, my heel is pressing out that way a little bit, and I can feel my inner thigh rolling down, which is what you want. Shift forward in your next inhale, come to your low runner's lunge. Block or not, roll this right shoulder onto your back. Start to find a twist as you reach up toward the sky. From here, this left hand will come up and over, big stretch along your side body. Face that left pinky side of your hand down. And then warrior to your feet, sneak that left forearm onto your left thigh and start to kind of like you're pulling a bow to shoot a bow and arrow. Reach that right arm to the sky. If your butt's sticking out, press the hips, roll them under just a little bit, super strong. You're really strong in the legs here too, so you're in a variation of warrior two essentially. So Virabhadrasana, 2 legs are always very strong, so very strong here. Use your core to lift yourself up, warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2. Flip your front fingers, inhale, reverse. Exhale, we'll kind of do that nice organic sweep down, getting very fluid. A lunar flow is very fluid usually. Bringing those left toes to face in. So you're coming to wide leg forward fold again. Inhale, we'll come back to that halfway lift pulse. Nice flat back, send your hips and heart away from one another. And then as you exhale, fold in. Inhale. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, turn your right toes out this time. You'll walk over to Skandasana into the right side. Check in, make sure you're not hyperextending. You might give that right knee a little press out so you feel that strength. And then walk your fingers sort of diagonal, reaching off, ears between the biceps, hips back, fingers forward. See if you can relax your shoulders away from your ears. I know it's like a broken record. I keep saying the same stuff. All of us yoga teachers do, but we all need to be reminded, ourselves included. Come back up, support yourself. Look at your left toes, follow them all the way to the front of your mat. Step back, high plank. This time, let's drop the knees down. Shift your hips so they're right over your knees, and then walk your fingers forward. Tense your fingers, come into Anahatasana, puppy pose. Now, in this pose, belly button is in towards your spine. I'm losing my earbuds. See if you can find a little bit of a tightness or a little bit of a shunk between the tops of your hips points and the bottom of your ribs. So instead of pushing everything out, you're just pulling that in so you have a nice controlled mindfulness going on for the core section. From there, just follow yourself forward onto your forearms, coming into Sphinx pose. Making sure that your elbows are not really far back, but rather it could be even a little further forward of your shoulders so that you have some space in the heart. Heels can fall out to the side. Just take a moment here. Calming, cooling, rest and digest, parasympathetic nervous system. The lunar flow brings us into a steady and fluid state. Bring the hands back by your ribs. Keep the elbows in toward your side. Push your way up through your upward facing or cobra. We'll meet in downward facing dog. From here, raise your right leg. Right knee towards your nose, step it through, low runner's lunge. Plant your left hand, right arm rises. Bring your hand to your shoulder blade and put the elbow point to the sky, then re-extend. Strong in the legs, right hand on the inside. We'll walk all the way to our left toes. And this time we'll find a little pulse in our Skandasana. So moving side to side. I wish you guys could see my dog. She's laying on the couch, like kind of over there, and she's just staring at me like, who the hell do you keep talking to? And then we'll follow all the way toward the back of our mat, frame the left foot, and then we'll do similar to what we just did. So stepping back, coming back into this plank. So you're gonna bring the knees a little forward and down. We'll do what we did in the hands, press and pull as you come all the way past your wrists. Find a baby push-up. Come back to tabletop, extend through plank, belly button in. Use that belly button, pit of the belly pulls up, bring the hips high. Left leg rises. Left knee towards your nose, pull it through, step it down. Right hand plants, left arm rises up. Bring your left hand to your shoulder blade, send that elbow point high, and then re-extend so that you can stack your arm. Both shoulders on the back, and then bring both hands on the inside. We'll Skandasana again, move side to side. So you can take this as gentle or as deep as you want. You might play with balance, you might lift your arms up, you might not use any hands, whatever you want. Come back to frame the right foot, step back, high plank. Activate, be strong in your legs. Bring the knees a little forward and down, tabletop. Shift the hips back over those flexed toes. Pull the hands for you as you towards you as you roll up, cat spine. From here, chin and chest down, hips high. Press back to tabletop. Extend back into your high plank. Bring the hips really high again, downward facing dog. And now bring the knees wide, toes together. And come into your variation of child's pose. So you might bring a block under your forehead. You might stack your hands like fists underneath. So find what works for you and just come into this place of repose and take a couple rounds of breath. Maybe you come back to an intention, or you come back to something that it is you might want to release. And then when you're ready, let's come back up, downward facing dog. So hands come into the mat, hips high. Bend through your knees a little bit here. Send your hips a little higher. And then you can start to walk your feet all the way to your hands. You can also jump or float there if that's in your practice. Just get your blocks so that they're handy. We will use them in a moment. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, sweep all the way up. Bring your hands to heart center, shoulders on your back, press your heels out just a little bit. And just take a moment to feel the hemispheres of your body. Then we'll sweep our arms back up. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands to blocks perhaps here. Just so that they're ready. Halfway lift, find that figure 7 here. You're making a nice number 7 with your back. I'm just gonna move back just a little bit. From here, left foot, left heel will come up towards your bum. Soften a little bit through your right knee. Bring your hands to your heart center, flamingo pose. So you're really straight through your back, heart moving away from your hips. Now start to press into the right foot, bring the left knee up towards your nose, so not your nose, but level with your hips. Shoulders on your back. cross the left ankle over your right thigh. Come back, find that little figure four, just like when we started. So your hands can be at heart center, or they might start to reach up toward the sky. Press into the right foot, bring that left knee back up, hip level. From here, we'll send it back. We'll come to warrior three, and now this is where you might bring your hands down onto the block. So you might come to modified warrior three. We're gonna move into half moon pose. So your right hand on the block will come a little forward of your shoulder. Left hand comes to your hip. Start to open yourself up into Ardha Chandrasana, shoulders on your back. Now if you fall, it's okay. Like I'm gonna fall. It's the pressure of being on screen to do this. So, from your Ardha Chandrasana, we're gonna gently bend into the standing knee, come back to warrior two. So you might extend a little bit longer through your feet, adjust as you need to. Right sits bone pulling away from the left, squaring your ribs so that they're off the side of the mat. Fingers facing forward. Now from here, sweeping this left hand forward, we're gonna come around, come into Anjaneyasana. So you're coming to the back ball mound of that left foot. Bring your hands into heart center. Lean forward, straight back over your right thigh. Step towards your right foot. Come into chair pose. Bring the arms up. And then stand all the way up. Bring your hands to heart center. I'm going to go to the other end of my mat to do this on the other side so that I can still face you. So from here, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands towards your blocks. From here, you'll bend into the right knee. You'll glue that right knee next to your left. Your heels towards your glute here. The hands will come to heart center if you want. If you're going to play with balance, you don't have to. You can bring your hands down. Nice flat back. But then press into the left foot. Bring the right knee up. Engage through the core, shoulders on your back. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh, coming into your standing figure four. So, hands can be in front in Anjali Mudra, or you might sweep your hands up to a V over your head. Hands come back to center. Right knee up toward hip level. And then we'll send that right leg back. Come through your warrior three. Just like on your backs when we started. Hands come down to the blocks. And we'll move into Ardha Chandrasana. So the left block will come a little forward here of your left shoulder. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Start to open up. Coming into your half moon pose. Your right arm might sweep up to the sky. It might stay at your hip. Soften through that standing leg. Shoot yourself back nice and gently into warrior two. Find warrior two. Looking over your left fingers. We'll sweep this right arm forward, and with that we'll come onto the ball mound of the right foot. You might take the left foot a little wider, coming into full Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge. Left hips pulling back, right forward. Maybe find a little back bend here, open through the heart. And then bring the hands all the way down this time. We'll step back, high plank. Then bring the knees down. Hips over the knees, reach the fingers forward. Anahatasana, puppy pose. And take a couple of breaths right there. And then shift forward onto your bellies. Let's come back to, actually, let's just stack the hands. So stack your hands and bring your forehead down. And let the heels fall out to the side. Maybe wiggle your hips back and forth a little bit. You might even bend into your knees and windshield wiper your feet back and forth a couple of times. And from here we're going to do a little gentle hip opening. So you might come up onto your forearms to start. And we'll bring that left knee out to the side. Left ankle will be flexed. Left foot will be flexed. So that you have this sort of nice right angles with your legs. You can stay up here for a little bit more of an intense half frog. Or you can come back down onto your forehead. And once you get yourself there, using your muscles to get there, see if you can actively ask them to chill out and relax as the hip begins to come down toward the floor a little bit more. You can always put a blanket under this knee too if it's not comfortable. See with each breath if you can let go of something a little bit more, whether it's something that you're thinking of, you could come back to it later, or if it's tension in your body, just sort of asking it to leave your space for now. You know, nothing's permanent, things come and go, but the little bits of reprieve that we have in the interim can make a difference. If you haven't come up onto your forearms or you're not there, please do. Extend your left fingers in front of you. Your right arm is going to come underneath, so we're coming to a little bit of a thread the needle here. Left finger is forward, you can bring your right temple down. Another option is to bring your forehead down if that feels a little bit of a different stretch in your shoulder. So take which one works, which one you feel like, and then resettle into the pose with an added benefit of a shoulder stretch. Now from here, we're going to turn this into a little twist. So, right temple's down. You'll just start to roll onto your right side. You might adjust your shoulder a little bit more. And then left arm will come over to the other side. Trying to get both shoulders onto the mat. And then this knee doesn't have to be down. It can be kind of floating. You might bring your right hand to the outer left thigh here. Flex through your right foot, give you a little more stability. And then see about pressing this knee one way and the left shoulder the other way to get a nice big twist along your body. onto your belly, stack your hands underneath your third eye, and let yourself rest again. Even out both sides of the body, maybe a little bit of a shimmy back and forth. And then we'll set up for the other side. So either coming up into Sphinx to start or keeping your head on your hands. Bring the right knee out to the side. Nice right angles between the thigh to the shin to the ankle. And then staying up or coming down. Maybe switch the cross in your hands. Let's come back up. We'll reach the right fingers forward. Of course, now my assistant's here blocking the screen. Right fingers come forward. Left arm comes underneath. Reach the left fingers over. And then you can bring your left temple down if you want for the shoulder stretch, or you can bring your forehead back. We'll start to transition onto our back. So, please do move it. You might bring your hands into the mat to help push you over. Your right knee will bend, your right shoulder blade will come down onto the mat. And this right knee is kind of out in space, so you might bring your left hand to the outer thigh, and then think about the knee going in one direction and your right scapula coming down to the other side for a nice big twist. And then roll all the way onto your bellies. Come back to stacking the hands. Bring the forehead down. Let the heels fall out. Find neutral. And then we're gonna just come onto our backs, so you can get there however you want. You might just flip over, but make sure you grab a block or a pillow. I'm gonna just suggest using your pillow or a bolster or something for something, a really gentle back bend, which do a really nice supported bridge. So, feet into the mat, knees bent, and then just lift your hips up and then just bring that pillow right underneath your sacrum, your bum. So it's just giving you a little bit of lift. Now, of course, if you want more, if you want blocks, if you want to do an active bridge, you're more than welcome to. But just a little something to expand through your lumbar spine to get some of that compression out. And then let's bring the arms back to that V that we started in with Tadasana. So big and expansive. See if you can take a scan of your body. And once again, if there's places where you are really holding any tension in your mind or in your physical body, just see if you can ask it just to lessen, to release for now. It doesn't have to be absolutes. It doesn't have to be, oh, look, I'm healed. I did this thing this one time. That's really not how it works. So honoring that it's a process, honoring that it's a practice, honoring that you are consistently coming back to it to help cultivate these tools of calm resolve, of relaxation, of release, of anxiety, of fear, whatever it might be that is on your mind and in your body right now. And lift your hips up off your bolster or your blocks. Move that to the side. And bring the hips back down onto the mat and take any final movements you might need. So you might come to Happy Baby. You might come to Supta Baddha Konasana. You might just lay yourself all the way down for your Shavasana. So any final bits of movement. I'm realizing why Lucy's here now. I forgot to feed her dinner at the normal time. So we'll eat after this. You'll be fine. And now eventually drawing yourself all the way down to the mat for your Shavasana. So laying down completely and start to take a scan of the body from the head all the way to the toes and from the heart to the fingertips. Once again, coming back to that universal ask of let me release this just for now. And as you feel the back of the body become heavier, allow the front of the body to become lighter and more expansive so that you can feel yourself moving in all directions. And so that you can float neutrally buoyant in between in your Shavasana. Begin to bring a little bit of awareness back into your physical body now. A deeper breath in, a long breath out. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And allow yourself to come into a full body stretch. And eventually rolling to one side. Release your low back. You can come up to a comfortable seated position when you're ready. Notice that I have a guest sitting right next to me. She likes to meditate. And let's come back to Hridaya Mudra. So your thumb and your middle and your ring finger all together. And then just curl that index finger in. Pinkies can stay out. Back of the hands to your knees. Stack your shoulders over your hips. And come into a nice easy rhythm of breath. Allowing this seal, this mudra, to help pull away any tension, any anxiety, any stress that you might feel. And then let's bring the hands to Anjali Mudra, heart center. Lucy, sit down. Grateful for our time in Sangha, the community of practice. Even though we are not together, we are still together. Bring thumb knuckles to your forehead center, elbows a little wider. Reach the heart toward the sky. And then bowing forward. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice. Namaste, Lucy. I'll feed you your dinner now. Really appreciate you guys tuning in for some local love. And if you want to donate, as I said, the information there is on the post. I will be doing a class on Sunday at noon. I've been doing brunch yoga at noon on Sundays from my personal Facebook, my Rebel Yell Yoga Facebook. And we do rock and roll classes, and it's super fun. You're welcome, guys. And it's been kind of a nice way to spend a Sunday, and I keep recommending people, get some friends together to meet up with virtually afterward, to have a Bloody Mary or some waffles or whatever it is that you're gonna do. So take care of yourselves. I hope you're all doing okay. Come back to the practices, when you feel like you need to take a deep breath, then take that deep breath. You're welcome, everyone. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.